We stopped at 17 or we did 17?
No, we stopped.
Okay. So the quiz that we are continuing is Godly Mothers, and question 18. All right, so we are doing 18 or we're doing 17?
17.
We are doing 17. Okay, we'll stop on 16. And so, all right, Rachel had the first twins recorded in the Bible, the scriptures. True or false?
False.
All right, so let's go to scriptures and find out what is in Genesis 25, verses 21 to 23. Brother, please read for Genesis 25 rather, excuse me. Genesis 25, 21 to 23, please.
Genesis 25, 21 to 23. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Amen. Amen. So, I think we can have a lot of discussion here regarding what happened. Again, first, this is a false quiz. I won't say false lie. So this is false, and we know that it was not Rachel, but it's Rebecca. So the first thing that we are noting here, again, this is open for question and answer discussion. It says, and Isaac entreated the Lord of his wife because she was barren. So, what are we learning here? First, Isaac's wife was barren. And where did he go? Did he go to the psychiatrist, to all the, if he didn't go to the psychiatrist, did he go and say, oh, let me go and adopt? Let me, let me, go and do what they call it, insemination. Let me do that. We know when we compare what we are reading here, we can see a man of faith, a man who has been groomed, who has undergone, who has done the, should we say, master's degree, or no, doctorate, rather, degree in obedience to God's word, because his father taught him that, Jehovah will provide. And for him, he could have died. He almost died. We can say that he died literally, spiritually, based upon what God has said to Father Abraham, that go and sacrifice your son, your only son. He didn't even say your son. He said your only beloved son, which means God knew how much, Father Abraham loved his only son. And he was saying that, well, this son that you love, show me your love. Show me that you truly obey me. And sacrifice him on the Mount Moriah. And he said, okay, Lord, if you say so, we'll do it. And so Isaac was not a child. Even a child, 5 years old, will say, Daddy, what are you trying to do? I have to call 911 on you. I have to call the police. You can't do that to me. And here we see that Isaac humbled himself. Because the father had taught him that you have to have faith in God, you have to trust God, you have to believe what God's word says. And so he was brought up with that, what does it say? Train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he grows up, he's going to be saying that my father, my mother, they had faith, they trusted in God, they believed, and they went to God, they prayed, everything that they wanted to do, they didn't just say, oh, there's a problem. Then they abandoned God. They left it. And so Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, which is to say that he prayed, he fasted, he went before the Lord, he continued to pray and to trust God for this, because the wife was barren. I mean, you look at it that when God had already promised that, in Isaac will be all of your desire. You are going to, populate the whole world. And then, I'm sure Father Abraham was still around when, Isaac, all these years. Said, my wife, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And what's going on? People of this world nowadays, you think we have that patience? Even Christians. I even said, well, if you don't have any, what should you do? Just go and adopt. Go and do that. Go this, do that. But Isaac didn't do that. He fasted, he prayed, he entreated the Lord for his wife. And the Lord was entreated of him. And God answered the prayer. And God said, well, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. So it is God. Every word here we see here has to do with trusting God, believing in God, having faith in God, knowing that where there is a problem, we have to go to God. We have to go to the Lord and say, Lord, you know the issue, you know the problem. Please deliver, please save, please revive. And we have to ask God to help us so that we have that desire to always want to seek God before we go to man, because the devil is always fighting. So in this case, it was the devil trying to hinder and frustrate Isaac and say, oh, well, you this and... But when he went, everybody knew, God knew, Isaac knew, his wife knew, and they decided, well, we'll pray. So God delivered Isaac from such a situation, and then it says, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? What's happening? What's going? Of course, all the rumbling, tumbling, and all of this, and she went to inquire of the Lord, which means, again, see that she also went and said, Lord, what is happening to me? What's going on? And the Lord said unto her. So we can see that when we have father, mother, husband, wife, entreating, praying to God, joining to have one desire, God is going to provide the answer here. So it is a testimony of what God is helping us to understand, that when there is an issue, when there's a problem, when the devil is trying to frustrate you by making things or cause things to happen, we shouldn't lose hope, because what did our proclamation say? He's our rock, he's our refuge, he's our defense, he's everything to us. And so may the Lord continue to strengthen us in this area. So, and of course, the Second Chronicles also has it's also balanced that sometimes there's an issue, there's a problem, and God says if we call upon Him, if we diligently pray and remorsefully seek Him and ask for forgiveness and go to Him, He will hear. God is a listening God. He's an answering prayer God. He's always willing, and He created us. He said we should serve Him. Serve me, and I will deliver you from all of these things. And so, that's something to get out of that. So, false, response. Question 18. Prophet Moses was adopted by Pharaoh's daughter. True or false? All right, Exodus 2:10, Samuel. Exodus 2:10.
Exodus chapter 2, verse 10. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became a son. So she called his name Moses, saying, because I drew him out of the water. Amen.
Amen. All right, so truth to this. Now, do we see the contrast? Isaac's wife. No child. And what did they do? Pray. Look at, Pharaoh's daughter. She doesn't have a son. And it is said, that her husband had died, or, from what we've seen, in the, the movie they have created. And so, since she didn't have a child, a son, when she retrieved baby Moses from the river, she decided to say, okay, I'm going to have, this is my child, even though, in that case, in that time, the child received all of those, royalty. And so we see that she didn't, of course, somewhere there they said I prayed, to the idol, and the idol gave him that, but she didn't know what she was saying. So Christian families, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, need to seek God so that as godly, people, God will answer our prayer. So that is a true truth. Question 19. Moses' true birth mother nursed him. Moses' true birth mother nursed him. True or false?
True.
All right. We'll read Exodus 2. And I'll read that. Exodus 2, actually have it here, 5-9 says, And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go? That means, when he said his sister, it means Moses' sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? Which means, it was known that she didn't have any ability to nurse the baby. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, that means Jochebed, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother, and Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, that means Jochebed, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. Is it not a wonderful story to see that, your own baby, and then your daughter said, oh, mom, they want you to come and nurse Brother Moses. I said, oh, okay, really? He said, just come, just go. And, in those days, since the Egyptians were ruling over the Israelites, and they were slaves basically at that time, then they had to, so they were slaves. So they don't even talk much. All they say is, go, come, take this. They just give short phrases or commands to people and say, take this child, go. Nurse him, bring him back later, and I'll pay you, and so on. So we can see here that God was showing, God's hand was in everything. God was dealing with Egypt, with the Israelites, and he was showing his miraculous power in what he was doing. So again, we see that all that we have is that God was doing everything. And if God is doing everything, all we have to do now is to just relax and enjoy God's ride.